Oh, we're ready.
Closer. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Geopolitics in Conflict Show. Very excited to be with you. Few days before Christmas.
Yes, happy
Are
holidays,
you
Merry
preparing for?
Christmas.
I don't do a lot. I enjoy the Christmas spirit of it, part of it. What I
Uh-huh.
do not like is the commercialism of it. I
You know,
never like that.
it's true, and I didn't either, but you know what? I'm kind of a sucker for Christmas.
That's all
Like,
right.
I'll keep my Christmas tree up into January. It's just so beautiful, and
That
I
is
worked
true.
really hard on it.
That is true, especially with what's going on around the world. You want
Yeah,
something that is a little bit uplifting,
I agree.
but at the
I
same
agree.
time, the reality of how things are. So, anyway, so excited to be with you guys. And what was I going to say? We're gonna go to Rambo right after this. So we're gonna be talking here. You all know how it is. You all know what's going on.
Mhm.
Without beating the dead horse, we don't need to keep repeating ourselves. We now becomes clear to you what's going on. So this is why we're gonna be taking the conversation later on the other platforms. What are we talking about today, by the way?
All right. So today we're talking about something that's been ongoing, that's been a very interesting sort of drip of a progression.
Oh,
And that is that, so there have been commercial vessels that have been attacked by the Houthis.
that is true.
And the US has had a very interesting reaction dash non-reaction
Yeah,
to that happening.
it's the same thing they did with Niger. You remember?
Absolutely.
Well, guess what? The US just wanted to cut a deal now with the Niger, with Ibrahim Traore.
Uh-huh.
That's why we never used the term a coup back then.
Yep.
And we pushed the French under the bus.
Yep. We sure did.
Shame on our government, but that's how politics is, the politics. So this is what we're going to be talking about. And first of all, we want to say, if this is your first time here, please make sure to subscribe. And also type in a chat box where you are joining us from. We'll greatly appreciate it. And to those who bought us coffee, here is the coffee right here. So I want to say thank you to you. And by the way, this coffee is not a cold brew. It's hot coffee. Elizabeth made it for me.
Made this.
I'm very grateful.
Yes.
Thank you.
I will share something about our, real life. So for our wedding, Corey and I got a really nice coffee maker. Someone got us a really nice coffee maker.
Oh yeah. I
really
did see
nice.
that.
And David is very particular about his coffee. If you guys don't know, David is really particular about his coffee. So he has not let me make him coffee from our coffee machine until today.
Yes.
So what do you think, David?
It is very good. It's a good coffee, by the way, that does not have mold in it. You gotta be careful. Speaking of coffee, you believe that today my topic with Ross on the Health Channel will be about coffee?
I did not know that.
It is at 5 o'clock, guys. If you want to join me and Dr. Stewart, we're gonna be talking about what you need to know about coffee.
What is the name of the channel so people can find it?
Is Health Tips for Life. Cool. I'm about to change that name later on, but for now.
But for right now, if you guys want to hear about the health benefits of coffee, and I love coffee, so
I do 1 cup a day. So anyway, we are very, very excited. We can't thank you enough for your support. We know that I've been saying it for months that there are some roadblocks have been put against our channels here. Is the reality we want you to know, because you are part of the community. And to me, when you are part of the community, you can just cherry pick what to. We don't want to be. We refuse to be the kind of YouTubers who will just say what you want to hear, because everybody's after the clicks and the subs. We refuse to do that, and now it's becoming more evident why our numbers are not where they need to be. I mean, I will let you be the judge for that. So. Well, go ahead.
You know, the way around that though is you guys. The more you share our content, the more you interact with it, the more comments you make, the more chat you have in the chat. So you guys really are the deciding factor. So we appreciate all the help and support, and of course our Rumble. So we're doing a Rumble immediately after and this is the link for later.
All right.
And also thank you to everybody who sent me the well wishes, because if you hear a little bit, I'm still a little I still sound a little bit like a fraud.
Well, that's what I enjoy the community, because did you know the whole purpose of internet? And let's just talk. That's what the whole idea. Did you know the
holiday show?
The whole purpose of the internet. You know what it is? Is that everybody get to chat with someone that they don't know personally.
Yeah.
And now what you are noticing is the roadblocks that have been put by the elites per se to limit the conversation. Why? Just because you are expressing an objective view that the elites might not like? Well, what about that person in the community that's what he or she wants to learn about?
Yeah.
Why silence the voices of reason?
So here's why. Okay. So, school, if you don't know how school came about, especially here in the Western world, it came about, it's the John D. Rockefeller way of education.
Oh, yes.
And what he said was, I'm not creating a nation of thinkers. I'm creating a nation of workers. And if you are a free thinker, and it's interesting, if you look at even the architecture here in the United States, look at the architecture here in the US versus in Europe. Right? It is designed for functionality. It's designed to make sure you don't think more. It's designed to make sure you're not interested in beauty, in art, in free thinking. Because if you have to go and sit in a factory day in and day out, push the same button, do the exact same thing, are you going to want to do that if you want to go explore the world and live your life? No, you're not.
Yeah. Well, now you see why I sidestepped from a university setting. It's because, I kind of used to tell my students, guys, I am not here to be your friend. I am here to challenge your intellectual capabilities to make sure you have what it takes to function in what lies ahead. And they all look at me and said, what do you mean, Dr. O? And I said, you will understand throughout the semester once we have conversations.
Yeah.
I said, because that's my responsibility towards you. But I am not here to sugarcoat things for you guys. Yeah. They appreciated it. But the administration didn't like that because you are now making students think.
Right.
And to them and by the way, that goes to the whole government.
Absolutely.
So for our country, and I speak for my country, I can't speak for others. For our country, the whole idea was that the government to maintain that people are ill-informed. Otherwise, how would you explain those roadblocks that's been put now on this platform?
Yeah.
You've seen it on both channels now. So, and yes, there are those on YouTube that, they say what others want to hear. More power to them. You guys have a free choice.
Yep.
That's what they at least should allow both sides of the argument. So when we say, we use the term, for example, which is nothing new, it's been said before, the term war crimes or genocide, it's been repeated over and over, but also because it's the reality. So when my country is contributing to something like that, I gotta speak out.
Well, and exactly what you're saying, David, like the consequences long term of really bad foreign policy is that all of a sudden you don't have any friends left in the world.
Well, we don't.
Is that right? And that's the point. And is that the best for the United States to be friendless? It's not. And so the bad foreign policy is causing bigger problems than it's solving.
And it's kind of too late for that now. We don't have. Who do we have? You know who the friends are? Is the one that we control. And those, I won't call them friends. You know what the term I will use? What do you guys? Why don't you type in chat box the term? I want to just put, have you part of the conversation. Put in the term. Let me see what you guys put in here. I do have a term in mind, and we'll see what the term is.
Okay. And also, I see you guys. Let me see. Thank you.
Puppet, you're absolutely correct. Caraluca, there's another one. Starts with an S. You know what that is, Elizabeth?
What, puppet?
Vessel. Yes, you're absolutely correct. Happy holidays to you too. So vessel states, subservience. That's the other term.
Yeah.
So on the idea, you're absolutely correct about the strategies of the foreign policy that have never been well defined, have never been discussed, have never been debated. I mean, do we get any say into what our country does on our behalf?
Nope.
No, you look at what's going on right now. And this is we lead into our conversation about the Houthis, because if you only know or read the statements what Secretary of Defense said about the alliance, the coalition.
Right. Right.
And this is according to, I'm paraphrasing what Lloyd Austin said, we are having Arab countries, which is a lie. You know why a lie? It was only one country.
Yeah.
And that country is Bahrain.
Oh,
that's it. That's it. Now, this is where you say, as one who spends a lot of time in the Middle East, understand the cultures. And by the way, this is the reason why they are suppressing my other channel.
Yeah.
It's because you are exposing the reality of the Middle East as is.
Yeah.
And that has always been the notion that the US is the security guarantor for the Middle East.
Yeah.
No. That was 50 years ago. Things have changed now. And of course, what made this even possible is the when China brokered a deal between Iran and Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
That was the last nail in the coffin for the US dominance in the Middle East. So when I start presenting some arguments, because as to those who might not know my background, I worked in Washington, D.C. I was an insider for quite a while. I wrote enough books about the Middle East, articles, over 140.
Yeah.
I hold a PhD in international security. So that becomes part of your academic background.
Right.
So you need to understand the ins and outs.
Right.
So when I start presenting those arguments and opening the eyes of the community, the channel the platform didn't like that.
That's why we have Rumble.
I know,
guys. Follow the Rumble.
So my point just to go back to that one.
Oh, hold on. Let me say, because you're absolutely right, David. I want to point this out about the Middle East because, coming off of 9/11, what is sort of the notion about the Middle East that we had here in the United States, right? Is I'm not going to say the T word, but that honestly, it was actually a terrible propaganda campaign after 9/11 for sort of the entire Middle East being this scary thing, right? That's how I'm going to put that. But it's interesting now coming out, looking at the Middle Eastern countries for how complex they really are and the human beings that they really are, and more truth about what actually happened during those years. But understandably, they're always, if you're going to go into a conflict, there always has to be an enemy, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And so if you notice, interestingly enough, even in US movies, who are the bad guys? Middle East, Russia, or China. And when China started getting into the film industry and investing in the film industry, all of a sudden they became Korean. And so now, North Korean specifically.
North Korea.
So now notice who are all the bad guys in all of the movies.
I know.
Isn't that wild?
It's interesting how they do that one. So, but yeah, for the Middle East is the idea of now realizing, and just to tie it back to our conversation about the Houthis, and even the terminology of it, guys. What the Washington press releases coming out, they're using the term. There's one specific term they're using: rebel. Well, Houthis are not rebel.
Yeah.
It is a movement.
Yeah.
It is well established.
Yeah, they've been called rebels for a while.
Well, we use that one for a reason.
The word,
You use that one to undermine the strength of a group or a movement.
Yeah.
That is the reason why. If you notice, when we use the term, for example, some other entities in the Middle East, we always use the term rebel.
Right.
Houthis are a different category altogether. And this is where this problem with this coalition.
Yeah.
When Lloyd Austin, Secretary of Defense, said, "Oh, Arab world is no, Arab world is not participating," and shame on the Arab world to begin with. We don't shy away from saying it because it's the truth. It's the fact. It's a fact. Arab leaders are all concerned. They are only concerned about their survival of the regime. Why? Because they're passing that from one generation to the next. It was never about the Palestinians. Why am I saying this? Because yesterday it was disclosed that United Arab Emirates, shame on United Arab Emirates. If there is somebody watching from there, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. They asked Israel to attack, not even Israel. They asked that Houthis should be defeated. Why do you think they say that? Why do you think they said that? They said that because United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia, when they were involved in a war against the Houthis, they couldn't defeat them. Did you know we were the one providing intelligence to the Saudis?
That's not surprising at all.
Yeah. And it shows you right there. Later along, there is a big issue.
Yeah.
That United Arab Emirates is a Muslim country.
Yeah.
So look what a Muslim country doing to another Muslim country or members, whatever you want to call it. And this is why the Saudis took a step back and said to the US, we're not getting involved.
Yeah.
It's because also Houthis, and I'm going to share a picture with you if I still have it.
Yes. I've got a bunch of pictures also.
Well, this one is to show you the capabilities of what the Houthis have. Check this out, guys. Look at this one here.
Oh.
Yeah. Those are in possession of Houthis. Houthis have those.
Those are big.
Yeah, it's big. That's the reason. That is the reason why Saudis were concerned. I have another one here. Those are Houthis missiles.
Ooh.
And all this because during the conflict between Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Houthis were targeting Saudi oil field.
Yep. And what is the thing that cannot be disturbed?
Oil flow of that. So, and this is where I would say shame on United Arab Emirates, but it will never cared about Muslims. Yeah, they have money, they can give money, but this one now, this conflict goes beyond just monetary gain.
Yep.
The whole reason for why Israel doing whatever it's doing, they won't be able to eradicate, as they say they won't. And now to tie it back to the commercial aspects of it, because that's where the trade.
Absolutely.
Why the Red Sea is important? Because you're looking at a major traffic for oil, for commodities, for everything goes through there.
Yeah.
I just find out this morning on my way here. German company, I think is Howard Lloyd, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on this because I don't remember the exact name of the company. Now they are rerouting about 25 ships.
Yep. Yeah. So pretty much everything. So let's go over that really quick because this is my area of interest and expertise. Yeah, exactly. So there are 7 major shipping companies. Evergreen, which is a Taiwanese company.
Yeah.
Euronav, which is Belgian. BP, British Petroleum,
of course.
Maersk
from Denmark.
Hapag Lloyd
from Germany.
CMA. Sorry, guys, my voice is still a little rough. CGM and Mediterranean Shipping Company. So they all paused commercial vessel operation through the Red Sea. Now, so this is a very interesting thing because one of the other things that's happening globally right now is that El Nino caused a drought that severely restricts the Panama Canal on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
So right now we're having actually a lot of really interesting shipping problems. And so let me share this. So there's actually, because of this, they're having to be rerouted at 40% extra distance, which adds time and it adds money.
Cost.
Right. It adds cost. Yeah. So let me show this map. So there's 8.8 million BPD of daily oil transit, which is nearly 380 million tons of daily cargo. So that's an enormous amount that's been rerouted. And who does that hurt the most? So hold on. I promised you guys I'd share it. And here, let me get to it. Share screen. And then I think it's this one. Okay. So if you guys can see this is all the way back around through the Cape of Good Hope.
Yeah, in South Africa.
Yeah. Look how much of an extra trip that is to go all the way around the Cape of Good Hope.
Yeah.
I mean, that's substantial. Okay. So one of the biggest losers in this situation actually is the United States.
Yeah.
The United States has been working for about 100 years, 150 years, to really plan out these supply chains. And supply chain's kind of a boring topic, right?
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about wars and conflicts and all this geopolitical stuff
versus
supply chain. That's really boring. But the reality is, how do you get your stuff?
Yeah,
where does the oil come from that goes in your car or that operates the farming machinery? And people don't really want to talk about that because it's kind of boring. But when you're trying to hit somebody, you hit them where the money is. And where is the money?
Yeah, this is why, I mean, for the US, for the Houthis, Abdel Malik al-Houthi, I don't have his picture.
Yeah.
He came on the air and said, if we are attacked,
yeah,
we will attack whomever is involved in that. That's a reference to the Arab countries, whoever's going to get involved. Because now United Arab Emirates, they put a target on their back. And shame on them. Shame on them. Instead of standing for what's right. As a matter of fact, the United Arab Emirates was using a Pegasus system from Iran, from Israel. Yeah. You know what a Pegasus system is, right?
Isn't the Pegasus very similar to the Iron Dome?
No. This one for spying.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
United Arab Emirates was using it against opposition people. As a matter of fact, United Arab Emirates wasn't the only country. Other Arab countries were using that. That was the deal that was made between Israel and those countries, because Pegasus, it's called Pegasus, was for spying specifically for that. So United Arab Emirates doesn't have, good record anyway when it comes down to this. But that's what the Houthis were stating to give an indication to those. The Houthis also statements is referred to the US. That means if they think, because they're going to bring in an aircraft carrier close by, there are ways of attacking that if any missiles is launched from the aircraft carrier. Here is where my fear is. My fear is if Israel will launch a missile and blame it on the US.
Oh, and honestly, even if they do, wouldn't the US because the US is very deeply involved with Israel, and I don't think anybody across the globe can separate the two.
But US is sort of party to the crimes, the war crimes. That's none. What's funny now, inside Congress, there is a push inside Congress pressuring Biden to sort of tighten the belt on Israel. Even today, everybody at the UN Security Council is waiting on US position regarding the humanitarian aid. We are the one holding the key.
Well, and that's the thing. And it's crazy to me.
And it shouldn't.
Because the death toll is rising. So we're at about 20,000 now. That's the latest number I saw this morning, was the death toll in Gaza being 20,000.
It shouldn't. Shame on us. It's straightforward. So
now here is see the warships in.
Well, first of all, I gotta say thank you to. Gotta say thank you to
Kale. Oh, thank you, Kale.
Thank you very much, Kale. Truly appreciate it.
Kale gives us a super sticker, I think, every live stream.
Every time. Yeah. And he on the other channel as well.
Oh,
when
cool.
I do live, he's always there. We do have a quite supporters, and we can't thank you enough for your support.
Absolutely.
We want you to know one thing. We don't take it for granted.
Absolutely.
That's one. And second, like I said before, we will pay it forward one way or another. Because in life, you don't just take, you give also. So for now, we are on the receiving end. Our turn will come where we will be on the giving end. And that's the right thing to do. So.
Well, honestly, this is all we do, guys. In case you didn't know, this is all we do.
We don't have backers, serious backers here to. Otherwise, if it were the case, we will have this in a different setting altogether, because we won't have to worry about. And this is why we do the ramble now. It's because we have to give you the full story. We can't just tell you what we don't do that kind of. We are after the numbers, subscribers, and no. And YouTube's kind of whatever. Anyway, it's kind of, I do find myself sometimes losing my energy when I talk about it.
I know.
I'd rather devote this for the benefit of our viewers to know. Now, here is a key question for you guys. And this is a geopolitical question. Tied to all this.
Okay.
Who do you think the country in the world that is really having a serious thoughts about these developments? And I'm not saying it's going to involve the whatever. There is a country in the world that depends on the Red Sea crossings that is really keeping an eye on these developments. So please type in.
Yeah, type it in.
I know it's a challenging one, but that's part of, we're just having a conversation in our community. So, and the reason being I am asking this because what it's going on right now. Oh, look at this. I gotta share this. I gotta share this. Rabbi Lee, thank you so much.
That's so
He gifted
kind of you.
5 memberships.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much,
That's
Rabbi.
very kind
And to
of
those
you.
people who received the membership from Rabbi, make
Mhm.
sure to send a thank you word for, because that's the right thing to do. Thank you so much, Rabbi. Truly
Yeah.
appreciate it.
We got another super sticker.
Alamseen, of course. Alamseen is another person that puts super
Yes.
stickers in both channels. So we can't thank you enough. Can't thank you enough. Truly appreciate it. We do have a great community.
Yeah, we
I'm
really
really
do.
so content with the conversation, and thank you guys for
Mhm.
keeping it civil. That's
Yeah.
very important. All right, let me go back to this question. Eddie, you put Egypt to a degree, but Egypt in this setting, it's useless.
Yep.
It's useless. I'll tell you why. First of all, Sisi already won the elections, which we don't know how. And second thing,
we don't know how.
We don't know. That's why I did this.
Yeah.
And second thing, Egypt now is renegotiating with the IMF about $6 billion.
Yep.
You know what it means. You get a loan from IMF.
Yep.
Look what's going on in Argentina. So,
absolutely.
So our ruler, Egypt, is not part of this. But good try.
Keep going. We
Armando, you put Germany. No. Akbar, Iran. No. Rugan, UK. No. Oh my God, somebody got it. Somebody got, actually 2.
Yep.
Fly back. You got it.
I think we got
and second
3.
one is this one right here.
Oh, wait, we got a third one.
Third one is China.
Damn. Yep.
China. Why is it China? Well, China, if you think about 2 main aspects of the energy.
Yep.
Oil and natural gas. They have to cross through the Red Sea. Where is China's position different than the rest of the other coalition, whatever? China has a good relationship with Iran.
Yep.
Houthis are under Iran.
Yep.
So which means if Iran said to the Houthis, how about if you cut down or slow or whatever, stop. But China is also, by the way, China is moving one of its vessels close by to the Red Sea, but it's not getting involved.
Yeah.
And that is the reason why I wanted to mention to you the importance, to highlight to you the importance of the Red Sea, because major commodities transits goes through there, oil and so forth. But to China, and the reason why it's important to focus on China is because China's economy. Did you know if China doesn't do well economically, the rest of the world doesn't do well economically?
Yeah.
That's just a fact. It's reality. Even though today I was laughing, I was at the gym this morning, working out, and sometimes I pay attention to.
I hate those TVs at the gym.
Yeah, you know what they said? The U.S. economy shows an increase of 4.9%. Come on, are we gonna trust what the government's saying?
If I could roll my eyes, further, I would roll my eyes. That's ridiculous.
That was the same argument was made about China, that China's economy is gonna die or is going down. I mean, you start to hear this.
The reality of China's economy is that it has challenges, but that doesn't
like
mean,
every other economy.
But that doesn't mean it's on its way down. Do you know what I mean?
What I heard it from so-called well-established analysts. That's saying China's economy is gonna collapse. I mean, come on.
I don't see that for a couple of reasons.
No.
The first is China seems to be, not that they do not have their problems, right?
They do, like every other country.
Their housing sector is a very big problem.
That is true.
We watched Evergrande fall. Their housing sector is a very big problem, okay?
However, but they handle it, you know how? By putting the guy in jail. So when we having that kind of, when you have corruption in Washington, what did we do with the global financial crisis, the GFC in 2008? We just
let him go.
Yeah, we get the money. You know who got the money? The big banks.
Yep.
You know, on the back of the average American citizens
who paid their executives. Absolutely, and this is well known. This isn't a secret. We know exactly what happened.
To my record, I read that it was $10 trillion got lost.
And it is true. So I was reading an article the other day that said, you know, I think it's over the last however many years, we've lost trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars that the government just doesn't know where it went. Well, if the government doesn't know where it went, why are we still paying for all this money that we don't know where it goes?
Well, look no further than the 2,200 pages. Yes, 20. I didn't read it. I'm aware of it. I didn't read it. 2,200 pages of the Pentagon defense spending that is proposed.
Yeah.
If you read through that,
it's 2,200 pages, so no one will read it.
Read it. There are certain ways to.
It probably could have been brought down to like 100 pages, 30 pages. Why is it 2,200? Because no one's gonna read it.
That's true.
And it's all like this is on purpose. I mean, this is not.
Well, it's the same thing. Same thing we are noticing with this. It's on purpose that they are trying to silence voices of reason, because once you start having individuals acquiring information, with developing critical thinking skills, what that's going to lead to? Asking questions that matter.
Absolutely.
And that's what the establishment doesn't want. What they want is for you to sit and watch whatever on YouTube, that some silly stuff. Or you watch a host that telling you what you want to hear. That gets promoted. We all know how it is by now. But to fall back to your point, that's exactly how it is. But when you're dealing with geopolitical matters, those are matters that can impact a society one way or another, sometimes for good, sometimes for bad. Look at what's happening to us now, economically speaking, when we're getting involved in more conflicts. And this Houthi stuff, this coalition thing, ain't aimed at the Houthis.
Well, who backs the Houthis?
Yeah, there is a much bigger picture. The aim, of course, because here is the interesting thing. If you are to say, well, we're going to this because Houthis are doing this and doing that, why Israel is not part of this coalition?
No, that's a great question. They are not.
Why they're not? So who do you have in this coalition? UK?
Yep.
US?
Yep.
France?
Yep.
Seychelles? Bahrain? And Germany. That's about it.
Canada.
I'm sorry. Not Germany. Canada. Even Australia now said they said they will provide logistics, but they are not sending. Australia is gone. We all know. Did you know we just now took hold of a base in Perth, where it's going to be the home to the submarines?
Oh, the ones that are coming, the ones that are that the
which means what?
From?
Which means what? Aussies will have no say into what we do. And why am I mentioning this? Is for you to understand where the next conflict is.
Taiwan.
Because the election is coming up soon. Next month, and also it's not. If you know how to read the geopolitical landscape, you can just see where the next conflict is in that part of the world, South China Sea. So
I'm very interested actually in how this goes, because the elections here are coming up next year for presidential elections here.
For us, yes, right?
So you think that oh no, that what's going on geopolitically could have nothing to do with the U.S. presidential elections, but it does, because there's public perception, right? And unfortunately, Biden's approval rating it's abysmal. It's at an all-time low. And partially that's because of the way that he's handled the Israel-Palestine conflict. And so especially the younger generations really, really disapprove of this. The older generations, it's a little bit more split. But from about 35 and younger, it is not split. It is a very clear, we do not approve of how this has been handled, right? And that's the generation that is more internet based, and that is a very critical cross section of the U.S. voter population. And so right now, sorry guys,
you okay?
I'm trying. For you guys who don't know, I was not feeling well. That's why this show is later in the week. But it's very interesting to see. I'm very curious to see, because this generation is getting very tired of the nonstop American war machine. And so I'm curious how that's actually going to shape conflicts in the future.
Well, it's also the way you look at it. Oh, let me say thank you here, because we need to say thank you to I gotta pull my reading glasses. Clarita Love, thank you so much. Clarita Love's been giving us super stickers.
Oh, really? Yes. Thank you.
It's not the first time I've seen the name before.
Thank you,
Clarita. Thank you so much, Clarita. Truly appreciate it. The thing about the next conflicts coming in is the idea of Will that be the only strategy the US will have?
Yeah.
My answer is yes. Why? Is because that's your strong sign to the decline of American global dominance. That's usually when a decline in power, it will embark on. My biggest fear, it has to do when the US dollar is no longer.
Me too. I'm honestly concerned.
It's gonna collapse one way or another. We're not saying it's happening tomorrow.
No, for sure. It'll be a while. It'll be.
There are those who saying what the Chinese renminbi is gonna take over. No, no. China is not interested in that. What China is interested in is ensuring that it's bilateral trade or even global trade for whomever wanted to choose that currency. Why? Because renminbi is in the global currency baskets. It's been added in 2016. That doesn't give it the influence the US dollar has.
Right. The US dollar still has the most influence. Unquestionably.
All what we're saying here, all what we're saying is that another alternative, another option is there. And that's all China's pushing for. Because we're noticing the abuse of the sanctions. We've been, look what's going on with Russia. We sanctioned them thinking it's
and it backfired. And that's my biggest issue with sanctions overall, is for the people who think, oh, sanctions are great and we're going to punish, because there's a large section of people who think that sanctions are fantastic and it's the right thing to do to punish somebody.
They don't know.
But here's the deal.
Yeah.
If you cut somebody off, what are they going to go do? They're going to go make allies somewhere else, because otherwise they're going to starve. And so you make somebody desperate, and that's when they go and figure out some way to not need you.
Well, you have that example for that with Iran. After we imposed sanctions in 1979.
Yeah.
Almost 40 years. And guess what? Did we bring Iran down?
No.
No.
Not only that, look at what we're facing right now.
Yeah. And this is why the US, just to tie it back to our topic, this is why the US, yes, they're calling for the coalition, but guess who's going to be at the front? No, not us. Not us. It's the same scenario that I'm seeing when it comes down to Asia. South Korea, Japan, and Philippines. Now you could add Australia to a degree. But those three, if there's a conflict with China, if, this is big if, because
better not be, man. That's because a bad deal for everyone.
Well, we know the consequences.
Yeah, it's a huge.
I mean, we ran 18 scenarios. I've talked about this before, and I'll be happy to repeat it. 18 scenarios at the Pentagon. I was aware of them back then. 18 scenarios. 17 out of 18 we lost. We won only one.
And win is a relative term. I mean, what exactly do we win?
No, not
in that case.
It would be complete destruction. But the point of it is that hypothetically, and just who's going to be at front? It's going to be the South Korean soldiers, Japanese soldiers, and of course Philippines.
It's what happened with Ukraine.
Well, yeah. Well, because we are seeing now where the results are. That's why some Europeans, beside France, UK, mainly UK is subservient with no. UK will not move an inch without getting the green light from the US. Germany, on the other hand, with this Olaf Scholz, he's like, this is why Germany now is calling for the reinstating conscription, meaning the military. Are you going to trust the Germany?
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing. We'll do a story as that unfolds. We'll do a video on that, because that to me is real iffy.
Yeah, well, the same thing. That's the same question if you ask, are you allowing Japan to reestablish its military?
I mean, after World War II, that's a real.
That's going to become the simple question is: would you trust the Japanese? I'm not talking about people.
Oh, of course not.
Make sure, guys,
people,
please,
absolutely. Yes,
please,
absolutely trust.
Anytime we mention a country, we are referring mainly and only to the government.
Right.
That's non-negotiable.
Not the people.
Yeah. So in Japanese government, we'll be thinking in terms, we'll be allowed to rearm. That's the same thing in Germany.
And the question is, to what end? To what goal? To either protect themselves or to use their
expand, as we say,
to create
because we all know the history, the atrocities that Japan committed, and it's not a secret, it's documented. And this is why the importance of history comes in.
Yeah.
You know, how...
Oh no, where'd you go?
I don't know. I'm still here. Ah, well, you guys can hear me, so it's not a big deal.
Well, let's see if I can fix that. Oh, I think I figured out what's going on.
What was it?
Continue.
Okay, so that was the whole issue with that. The idea of thinking in terms of for Japan, it will become problematic. It's the same argument that Germany is now. Well, what Germany is saying is that well, we want to build a stronger Europe. Hold on a second.
Stronger than
It's not about stronger Europe. First of all, because they are concerned about the emergence of the Polish military.
Yeah.
That's one. Second, they want to be thinking, how can they do that when we still have about 50,000, almost 50 troops on the German soil?
Yeah.
So...
Well, and I actually also wonder if so one of the big issues here in the United States is recruitment numbers for U.S. military are abysmal. And one of the topics that, sorry guys, that we can't talk about here that we were going to talk about on Rumble is, there you are. One of the issues that we were going to talk about on Rumble is the fact that there's kind of like a whole big thing in TikTok right now, military personnel, young people saying, don't join. And causing a really big fuss about like, this isn't what you think it's gonna be. This isn't, we're more or less fighting endless wars. This isn't, don't do this, right? And obviously that's a topic we can't really cover here.
No.
Oh, sorry. But I wonder if that has anything to do with, okay, well, we're sort of tapping out because the US cannot reinstate the draft here.
Yeah.
Whoever reinstates the draft, that is political suicide for that entire party. Okay.
Yeah, but that's what Germany
reinstate it.
Well, that's what Germany is doing now. You know why? Because they left one clause in their constitution that was worded in 2010, because that's when it was introduced to consider back in 2011, but they left one clause opening the door for that.
Well, that is and I wonder if I don't know. I mean, Germans, it's up to you guys what you want to do with that. But other countries in Europe have a sort of required, or at least did. It used to be more prevalent where it was like a required military service.
Israel has that.
Right. Israel has
that. You have
to
serve in
and so I wonder how, I mean, Germany, it's up to you guys what you decide to do, whether you want that or you don't want that. But I wonder, as sort of the United States, as the US military is getting less and less interest from the United States, if they're rallying up people in other places,
but the idea
to
of
fill that in,
how our military has become, at least in my time, on us, still now you're dealing with this woke mentality, and that's another conversation for another day. But
and definitely Rumble.
let me see here. We want to say thank you to Samir and Abdawi. Samir has also been providing.
Oh, thank you,
Samir. Thank you so much, man. Truly appreciate it. I've seen Samir on many occasions.
Cool.
So thank you all for your continued
And if you're
support.
just joining us, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, for wherever you are in the world.
And remember, we're gonna be on Rumble right after this.
Yes,
so we're gonna be there. So
yes, and we'll take questions on Rumble. How about that? Do you want to take questions on Rumble?
Yeah, we'll do them on Rumble. We'll do one here or two, and we'll do the other one. So let me just wrap this up here. Then we'll head out to Rumble.
Sounds good.
Okay, guys. So here's the bottom line to all this. To understand this coalition, because now the countries, first of all, that's going to be involved or are involved based on what Lloyd Austin, Secretary of Defense, stated, those countries that have no sovereignty, in my opinion. Yeah, they are independent on papers and all that, but they got no, except for France. France has one particular aspect to that, and that is France has a long ties historically with West Asia.
Yeah.
It's not new. You look what the history of France in Syria, in Lebanon, and even with Iran during the Shah. As a matter of fact, it was France that provided the head of the Iranian Khomeini back then. Exiled. He was exiled to France. That's right. So France has some strategic interest in it, but also thinking in terms of its company Total, because of the energy. But as far as other countries, they are being pushed by the US because the US that calls the shot on this. The second thing is this coalition is not going to go anywhere because the moment the first shot is fired on the Houthis, and the Houthis do not bluff, they're going to know where that shot was. And they did say that. I listened to the statements of their Abdul Malik al-Houthi, and he said that whatever the shot comes from, that's what we're going to target.
You know, I think it's very interesting. The US's sort of response to this has been very vague, gentle and vague. And that is not typically the way that the US military reacts to things. So that to me, above all else, because, you know, they're talking about Operation Prosperity Guardian and all of these things.
It's nonsense.
But it's been very vague and very sort of gentle in this way, because I think they don't want to poke this bear.
Well, not only that, is also because they know that, you know, how can the world forget us leaving Afghanistan in a humiliating way? How can the world forget we couldn't defeat militias inside Iraq? The world's not going to forget that. So despite our might, military and all, we couldn't defeat a group with the AK-47 and sandals, not even shoes. I've been in that part of the world. I saw the living conditions.
My husband too.
Even in winter, in the middle of the winter, as snow and cold and all that, they have flip-flops. They don't have shoes. They just cover. They're fierce fighters. Houthis are the same. That's why Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates couldn't defeat them. We couldn't even defeat them when we were there in Yemen. And I was in Yemen. I spent time there. So that's what I want you guys to understand. This is nothing but a hypes as far as for the US to maintain its global leadership, because which other country that's taking the lead? It was the US that says, well, we need to do this, need to do that. No other country. And to the US is an opportunity to continue its role as the global leader, whatever. But that era is gone. We all know it. So it will be interesting to see what comes after that one. So all right, let's take one question.
And we can head thank out to you Rambo. To Eleonora Marco. Thank you so much for your super sticker.
Eleonora Marco. Oh, thank you. Truly appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Let's if I can find one question,
guys, and just come right after. Give us about 10-15 minutes and we'll see you on Rumble.
Okay. Let me
I'm gonna start calling it R. We'll see you on
R Rumble. Okay. Let's see. Let's do this. Francis Tango. Does the US want to take the risk of war with China even if they can't win?
That's an interesting, and Francis, by the way, it's another supporter of the channel.
I see it.
Thank you, Francis. It's an interesting question, and the short answer is no, because the calculations of it won't be pretty. Because if we are to say the answer is yes, then the objective is not about winning. The objective is about prolonging the conflicts over there, which has always been the strategy since 1952. Korean War, Vietnam, Gulf War, Gulf II, Afghanistan, Ukraine, and the next one. So it became clear now. So to China, it will be thinking twice about, not about being scared or concerned about, but thinking about twice, is it a smart move on its part? And if it is, China will react before. Because remember, if the fight takes place, it's to the advantage of China, not the US. We have to move our assets unless you use what you have there. And everything in that part of the world is within reach of China's missiles. And straightforward.
So I think when it comes to war with China, I think the ultimate goal, we've talked about this before, is financial. You know,
that's true.
China is a rising power, right? And so what we're looking at is, you know, the United States is on. Anybody who's paying attention knows that the United States there's cycles.
Cycle of history.
Ray Dalio has done a phenomenal job highlight and making it very easily accessible to people. So if you want to check out Ray Dalio's work, it's absolutely worth it. But everyone who's paying attention can see we're at the end of the cycle, right? And everyone can see that China is rising, and the gains that they've made in such a short time are honestly extraordinary. But
30 years.
Yeah, and it's very, very short. So, what is one way to drain a country economically is to start a conflict with them.
Yeah.
And so it's one of the things that the US tried to do with Russia, is the US tried to engage Russia in this conflict and tried to nix them by doing that. And so if you look at the conflict, always look at what is the financial reason for why we would even be talking about that. Because they believe that if the US was very serious about going to war with China, we wouldn't have had President Xi Jinping here. Do you know what I mean? We just had him here in San Francisco.
Yeah, but at the same time, it wasn't the administration. It was the business community that wants him here.
Absolutely.
It's because who makes the decision in Washington is not the president, is the business community, is the hidden hand, as I always call it. There are influencers in Washington that once you work in Washington, D.C., within a year or two, it'll become clear to you who's in charge here. White House is nothing but a facade.
And you're absolutely right. The business community does not want an actual conflict.
But this is why you're hearing now about the head of Google is talking about, you can't ignore China. Well, Tim was talking, it's too late for that, sort of. And later along, it was allowing this kind of what's going on, limiting freedom of conversations. So, and what would you think that people is going to want to believe in what you're saying? But China moved on, because it was with this issue of the microchips. It's too late for that. It is too late. If China announced, it's not if, it's already did. And I did a video on it on the other channel. If China moves forward now with its first transactions in oil, in energy, using digital renminbi, that tells you where things are headed. Straightforward.
Right.
Chips or not, the U.S. is barking at the wrong tree.
Well, and the U.S. dollar was kept in the high place that it was because of the petrodollar. It was because all of the transactions were in the U.S. dollar. Now, as that becomes less and less,
it's too late. Yeah, look at today. Gold is going up. Gold is going up. The U.S. dollar is going down, and the strategic petroleum reserves are at a very, very low capacity. This is where the problems are that an average citizen needs to be aware of. And this is what we try to provide in this channel. Unfortunately, sometimes you get those roadblocks because you don't want people to become informed. Absolutely. If they become informed, they're going to start asking questions. And that's what the establishment doesn't want.
So guys, ask all the questions.
Yeah, we're going to get out to the Rumble and we will to the R. And we will see you there, guys. Okay.
Wait, really quick. Somebody asked about the health channel, where they can find it.
I don't have the link here.
I don't either, but
it used to be there.
If you go to David's channel, Geopolitical Trends, and go to the community section, he posts links to it all the time.
Let me see if I can find it for you guys, and
you have to put it in the chat, David, if you can find it.
Okay, let me get it for you guys quickly here. That's the advantage of
and let's see. While David is doing that, I'm reading your comments. Health tips for life is what it's called. Phil, this is what it's called. But does anybody have the link to it? The actual link to it? Okay. Well, anyway, it's coming. Oh, here it is. Oh, wait. There it is.
Let me put it up. I'll put it up for the link for you guys.
Okay. Army with Harmony said it's at Access Health Tips for Life is the search in YouTube. Cool. All right. And then David just posted it.
Yeah. Well, because Army with Harmony is always there. So I look forward to, if you guys want to learn a little bit about health tips also. Because here's the thing. A good mind, it's in a good body. If you take good care of your body, it's an asset. Trust me on this.
David, so I've only been sick for 2 days. And I did not.
How many medications did you take?
0. And this was very interesting. I did this, and this just worked for me personally. But I did onion water and I did garlic and honey and ferment it.
Yeah.
And it within one day, I was completely better.
Do you want me to share a secret with you?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have 2 jars at home that we made 6 months ago.
That's what I have too. I have 6
months.
So
with garlic, and every morning I take 1 spoon. That's why I don't get colds in winter or whatever. So yeah, good health is very, very important, guys.
Yep.
So, well, we look forward to seeing you on R sooner. Give us just about 10-15 minutes. I'll go get a glass of water or so, and we'll meet you over there, and we'll talk, and you ask you questions and word it whatever way you want. As always, prepare yourself for changing world order. Till next time. Bye-bye.